One of the things that's been worrying me mostly these days is the huge polarization that's taking place in society. And I'm not talking about a political polarization of left and right. No, I'm talking about a moral polarization between the good and the bad. And this has led to such issues as massive Twitter pylons where people who say the wrong thing are totally destroyed in some kind of way, maybe even their jobs are lost. It's led to people like football teams taking the knee before the Euro matches. Virtue signalling has become almost endemic in our society, with many people seeking to signal which side of the moral divide that they're on. Are you one of the good, enlightened people? Or are you one of the bad, regressive sorts stuck in the past and haven't taken on the new values of equality and fairness in the world, which so needs it? Well, unfortunately, I don't find that this particular kind of virtue signalling is very edifying. A bit like why the crowds boo at football matches when footballers take the knee. Again, that doesn't surprise me, because virtue signalling is really nothing more, I suppose, than a form of hypocrisy, and quite a deep level of hypocrisy. It's a claim of self-righteousness, really. And look at me, I'm pointing you the right way. You should be following what I'm doing. You should take some leaf out of my book and try to adopt the attitudes that I adopt. But the real problem with all this, and why it really is hypocrisy, is simply one simple matter. And that's because there isn't actually any virtue in it. It isn't real virtue at all. Just taking a stand on something is not a virtuous act. Well, not in my book. And what is lacking entirely is some of those qualities which perhaps are real virtues. And if you want to show or demonstrate real virtues, then it's not about sticking a badge on your lapel or a bumper sticker on your car or taking a knee in front of a football match. It's actually demonstrating those qualities which you'll find very little of in places like Twitter. And what I'm talking about here are things like kindness to other people, showing a patience with other people, giving people the benefit of the doubt when maybe some doubt is required. It's also about being the kind of person who is seeking to relieve suffering and pain and difficulty from other people, and not just enhance it by the way in which you act in a censorious and a non-compromising way. Twitter is one of those places where you'll find plenty of people who are virtue signalling. It seems to be the main game on places like Twitter. But the trouble is, there's very little virtue, and there's very little in the way that people could admire in what goes on. Seeking to oust other people, condemn other people, round on other people, is not a virtuous act at all, and it certainly doesn't put you on the side of the goodies. On the contrary, if you learn to practice peace, patience, love to those who you come across, then maybe you don't even need to signal your virtue at all. Because signalling virtue is just like a paper-thin veneer. It's a fake. It's not the real thing. The real thing is learning to care about other people, loving your neighbour as yourself, as someone once put it. That might be the best possible way of being virtuous.